A muscle-minded tank brain, the Baron thought. No mentat, my nephew. Not a Piter de Vries, but perhaps something more precisely devised for the task at hand. If I give him freedom to do it, he'll grind over everything in his path. Oh, how he'll be hated here on Arrakis. One of the most highly anticipated films of 2023 is Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2, the epic conclusion of Frank Herbert's iconic sci-fi novel. Though the story of Dune itself is well known, each adaptation of the famous novel has taken its own creative liberties with the source material, leaving many to speculate as to exactly how Villeneuve intends to finish his interpretation of this story. Though details have been few and far between, actor Dave Bautista has recently revealed his experience working on Dune Part 2, giving fans a sense of what they can expect to see in the sequel. Spoiler warning, as I will be discussing significant plot details from the second half of Frank Herbert's first novel. While promoting his new role in M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin, Dave Bautista was asked about his next project in Dune Part 2, which recently wrapped filming and is currently set for a theatrical release on November 3, 2023. In an interview with Collider, Bautista was asked what it was like working on the sequel. The actor begins by saying that we've heard him talk about the first film and that the sequel is that times 100. Previously, when talking about his role in Dune Part 1, Dave Bautista had nothing but high praise for the director Denis Villeneuve and his vision for this epic universe. He called the first film in the two-part adaptation beautiful and different, and a lot of times dark and strange. Now, the actor goes on to make clear that the sequel will be more amped up, saying, quote, "The first film was just an introduction to what this film is. There's just so much going on. It's so much more cutthroat and political and intense. And there are moments of levity where there are some funny moments, and they're kind of absurd humor, but there are those moments, so it's just so much more amped up than the first film." I have to say, I am pleased by the emphasis on moving past the introduction to this strange world, as it sounds like we might get to dive deeper into the lore of Dune and the complexities of this universe. Director Denis Villeneuve has already teased that there will be more from the fearsome antagonists of House Harkonnen, but I'm glad to also hear from Batista of the increased political intrigue and how cutthroat this feudal empire is. When it comes to the moments of levity and absurd humor that Batista says is present in the sequel, I am very much looking forward to finding out what that entails. I tend to think that any humor might be most appropriate in the interchange between the members of House Harkonnen, indicating somewhat of a rivalry between Beast Rabban and his brother Feyd-Rautha, chosen heir of House Harkonnen, played by Austin Butler, whose introduction was put off for the intended sequel. And no doubt, the scenes with Christopher Walken as the Padishah Emperor Shaddam Carino and his conversations with the imposing Baron Harkonnen present the chance for some special absurdity. This is, of course, pure speculation on my part, but I do feel that any comedic moments are likely to fit within the thematically dark tone of the film. In this way, it can be described as absurd in the existence of levity, but not in any way over the top or out of place. Dave Bautista goes on to relate that his part as Glossu Beast Rabban is much bigger in this upcoming sequel, and again praises filmmaker Villeneuve for his ability to bring out the best in him as an actor. In examining Villeneuve's approach to incorporating original scenes into his adaptation, there is certainly a basis to expand upon Beast Rabban's role in Part 2. In the novel, after the Harkonnen siege against the Atreides on Arrakis, the Baron enlightens his muscle-minded nephew regarding the enormous cost required for them to bring such a military force to bear on the desert world. And as he puts Beast Rabban in charge of Arrakis, the Baron gives his nephew two goals to meet in his oversight of the planet: to squeeze Dune of its spice wealth in an effort to recover their losses, and to rule with a merciless fist, driving the population into utter submission. In Villeneuve's first film, this conversation is very brief. As the Baron puts him in charge of the affairs on Arrakis, he orders him to squeeze the planet, and when it comes to the Fremen, Beast is instructed to kill them all. While audiences only got a glimpse of Rabban's brutality in Dune Part 1, I feel that the biggest impact of his beast-like nature is largely felt with his return to the governance of Dune. His efforts to squeeze and ruthlessly oppress the people of Arrakis only serve to intensify the Fremen's hatred and to catalyze their uprising. In the book, it is established that during the 2 years of Rabban's oppressive rule, 15,000 Fremen were killed under his authority. As the Mentat Thufir Hawat brings out, such repression makes religion flourish, and Muad'Dib, the new religious leader among the Fremen, has risen at the right time to take full advantage of their fervor. Thus, Rabban's oppression in overseeing spice harvesting operations on Arrakis proved to stoke the fires of hatred that amplified the Fremen's ferocity and contributed to their success as they rose up against their oppressors. To Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, his nephew Glossu Rabban is just another tool to be used and discarded when he's no longer useful. Rabban relishes the opportunity to have such a free hand on Arrakis. Meanwhile, the Baron is counting on his nephew's merciless tactics to pave the way for Feyd-Rautha, the Baron's chosen heir. After Glossu Rabban's severe oppression, Feyd-Rautha would be ushered in and propped up as the people's rescuer, the compassionate one to save them from the beast, a man to follow and die for. No doubt the trademark treachery of House Harkonnen and their amped-up oppression of the Fremen populace should be a significant part of the second film, as this is a major factor in the Fremen's many attacks on the Harkonnen forces and their disruption of spice harvesting operations. Rabban's struggle to produce the required spice quotas are the main impetus for the Emperor's choice to personally travel to the desert planet in order to sort out the matter, as his Sardaukar are deployed in attempts to quash the Fremen's campaign. While I can't deny that Batista's remarks regarding Dune Part 2 are intriguing, when it comes to actor interviews like these, I've learned to take them with a grain of salt, and not to let such comments lead me to make too many conclusions about the film itself. Though an actor may express excitement over the script, scripts can go through several revisions and rewrites. Reshoots and the editing process can drastically alter the finished product. I've noticed that an actor's experiences on set typically serves as a basis for their opinions of the film. At the end of the day, until they see the finished product themselves, they can't really know what amount of what they've filmed will even make the final cut. This has already proven to be the case with Part 1. There were several actors commenting on their individual experiences in the first film, and as such, they tended to base their assessment of their characters upon all of their filmed sequences. As a result, they failed to paint accurate pictures of their roles within the film, as a good portion of many character scenes never made it off the cutting room floor. So currently, from Batista's perspective, though he says his role is much larger, it's still possible that several of his scenes could be omitted from the finished film. If this is the case, and much of what Batista is referring to is left out of the film, it is my hope that there might be more consideration of releasing extended editions of both parts after the release of the sequel. But I'm curious to know what you think of Dave Bautista's comments about his work on Dune Part 2. Would you like to see an expansion of the story of Beast Rabban after his return to the stewardship of Arrakis? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.